Jerry Schultz, an Associate Professor of Business at St. Charles Community College. Welcome to Impact, the blueprint to provide insight to leaders from a regional perspective. Today we are joined again by Erin Clark, an entrepreneur, real estate investor, and creative force behind multiple commercial properties. Erin, thank you for joining us again.
Happy to be back.
Let's begin with our first question. Erin, when businesses are looking for the right person, everyone thinks they are looking for skills, when in reality, they're primarily looking for talent. What talents are you looking for in every interview? What stands out? And what helps you to make the decision?
So I agree with the fact that we're not necessarily looking for skills. I think skills can be taught. I think grit is something that I'm looking for. I'm looking for somebody that has been through some hard stuff. I'm looking for somebody that makes a bad situation into something positive. I'm looking for somebody that is willing to take risks and do scary things. I happen to be in kind of two realms. I work for a company where I'm looking for talent, and then I also run businesses where luckily and thankfully we are very blessed with a family that is already very talented and already has grit and is willing to do scary things and has come through some hard stuff. So those are three things that I absolutely look for. I use the word intrinsic a lot. So in the realm that I work in full time, I'm looking for people that don't just want a paycheck. I'm happy to help you pay your bills. I try to be very generous, whether it's through, staffing and an actual W-2 or through leadership. But if the only reason you're doing your job is to pay your bills, it's probably not going to get you up early, and it's certainly not going to keep you up at night. You're probably not going to be willing to go the extra mile or do the scary thing. I'm not necessarily looking for somebody that wants fame and glory, that only, wants the show or the vacations or the medals. It's got to be something deeper than that. So I use intrinsic because I truly feel like if I had a talent, it's that I'm intrinsically motivated. The pay doesn't actually matter. The trips or the accolades or the titles have never really mattered to me. Mm-hmm. It's that I really want to do something big. I want to do something worthwhile. I want to be the best at my craft. Some of that comes out of a need to prove. So they say that a lot of high performers, we're speaking high performers here, but they say that a lot of high performers actually have a little bit of a chip on their shoulder. I'm never afraid to work with anybody that has a chip on their shoulder or that is, looking to either prove themselves right or prove somebody else wrong. It's not something that can necessarily motivate you forever, but I think somebody that is inspired within will go 10 times further than somebody just looking to make a buck. So that's what I'm looking for.
And it's heartwarming too, to know how you've taken this all into perspective. And I know that you rely a lot on your family to be able to help you to develop your talents. And I know you've had these talents since the time I met you many, many years ago, and you just keep adding to those talents. And so I know you know how to drive the good talents into your company. So I admire you for that.
Thanks.
How would someone demonstrate the traits of a good quality leader in your industry?
So I think a quality leader, I think the traits of a quality leader could be applied to any industry. I prefer to work with a leader that gets their hands dirty. I learned that from my family. My mom, my dad, my grandfather is an excellent example of that. He wasn't necessarily a man of words, but when it was time, when my family was picking up and moving, he was there moving our bushes so that we could move a truck behind the house. I really believe in a leader that just shows up and does the work. I believe that leaders who don't necessarily need the accolades, I listened to a podcast and I think it was Craig Rochelle, and he said that as a leader, if your team does great, you give them all the credit. And if they don't do great, you take all the blame. I think that concept is kind of a leaders eat last mentality. I will follow a leader off a cliff if I believe they would go off the cliff with me. So I think that that's an important characteristic. I think that, being a good listener, I've worked for and with a lot of people that just love to hear themselves talk and have never heard a word I said. And I quit a lot of jobs because of that. I think that a good leader has some empathy. They say that you are the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. And as leaders, we don't get a title, or we don't, our leadership isn't a reflection of our title. It's a reflection of the people that are around us. And so I look for a leader that wants to build me just as much as I want to build them, and vice versa. I've worked with some really, really amazing leaders, and I've worked with some really poor ones. And I think you can change the world through leadership. And I think you can absolutely change someone's life for the better. And I also think you can do some real damage. And so it's a really important role.
So one question here, what are the tricks of the trade to find the very talented people on your team and then to bring them onto your team?
Oh, gosh.
So maybe I'll word it this way. You found the right person, but they can go other places. What are your tools to draw them in?
The role that I play in my job is that I have kind of 2 lives. And one of them, I don't do any hiring. People choose to do what I do, and I don't get to do an interview. I mean, I guess I could tell somebody that they're not a fit, but I'm really looking to attract the best of the best. And really what that means for me is I'm looking to attract people that work well with me, that would learn something from me, or that we would get along, that I think that I could help take them to the next level. And so one kind of principle that I've lived by for a long time, again, for periods of time in my life to my demise, is that I have to be unapologetically myself. I have to be authentic. I don't want to feel like I'm walking through this world hiding, and I don't want anybody else to feel like that either. And what I think is that, maybe I sound like a total weirdo here, but I think like attracts like. I think that when you let your light shine as bright as it'll shine, people who are meant to be in your life and in your job and in your career and in that role, they will find you. Yeah. And if you don't lie about who you are and what you have to offer, and how you can serve them, if you really are truly authentically yourself, then it works. Mm-hmm. And so I think a struggle that people have is, we're in the world of social media. We're in the world of the highlight reels and Instagram filters and now AI. And so we all feel like we're supposed to be held to this really high standard. And I have to fight that. I am a almost 41-year-old woman that looks at 20-year-olds on Instagram. And maybe in my mind, I think I'm supposed to look a certain way or act a certain way. But my success has been driven by me just being unapologetically myself. And I think that what that has lent to is other women, and I work with men as well, but other women who believe that maybe it's okay for them to be themselves. That's not a fancy answer by any means, but that has truly been how I have built the successful business that I have. And then again, just trying to portray the levels of leadership that I expect out of my leaders. I try to be really honest. I try to be a good listener. I've got a lot of empathy. Empathy is really on my side. And so I try to put myself in people's shoes. And frankly, at the end of the day, I know that most of the time I want something for my people, maybe more than they want it for themselves. And that's okay.
That was a very authentic answer, so I thank you for that. It was deep and authentic. Whew, thank you. So, share why you and how you are so competitive, and I mean that in a positive way. What do you do every day to make business happen, keep customers happy, and be on top of the industry? And that takes being competitive.
I go back to that intrinsic thing that we talked about earlier. I have never really been competitive with anybody else. I've been accused of that. I'm always willing to, pull a hamstring trying to run as fast as I can. But it's never out to beat anyone except me. And so I think that, I think maybe we were put on this planet to be competitive. I think we were put here to do cool stuff. I think we were put here to take risks and push hard. And I think that work is really exciting. And so competitiveness has been a total flex for me because I think that I can always get better. I can always work harder, and I'm not trying to beat anybody else but me. So as far as, how that has lent to my work, sometimes it's not the best thing. I have to teach. One of the things that I do kind of in my full-time role is I work with really high performers, and they're hard. High performers are hard to work with. People who are intrinsically motivated are never satisfied. So that's actually a problem. So today we had calls, for example. My company does calls when we hit huge milestones. Today was one of those days. And we had a mom. She actually lives in St. Louis. She's a mom. She's a wife. She has been through absolute tragedy in the last 5 years. Like, she is just a tough cookie. She is an ideal leader in my mind. I think she's just incredible. And she hit a huge milestone in our business, and all of our coworkers and bosses were on, congratulating her. And what I heard her saying and myself saying in the same call where we were celebrating her was, what's next?
Yeah.
Right? So, what's the next milestone, or what's the next goal, or, when does the next advancement come? And I think that's why winners win. I think that's why achievers achieve, because it's never going to be enough. But I think it can also be our kryptonite. So my advice to her today was, put a crown on. I mean, I want to see you in a crown and a sash and a fancy dress, and I want you to walk around. I was just being silly, but roll with what you just achieved and allow yourself to be so proud of it. And then we can talk about the next steps.
Yes.
And I really believe that you are far, more capable than you ever imagine. But I also think that we need to be able to celebrate where we are. So, competitiveness is great, and it can also be something that we have to work on for the long term.
Yes. Very good advice and a great story. Heartwarming story. Well, this is amazing. And thank you, Erin. Thank you so very much for sharing the behind the scenes, behind your work, behind the people you work with, behind your family, faith. To the audience, be sure to keep an eye out for the final episode with Erin Clark on Tenacity. Thank you for watching, and remember, be bold, be confident, and be extraordinary. Thank you.
Hey.
All right.